Hello everybody. Today I want to give you 10 short conversations between two people. Number 1. The woman said to the man she was picking John up that afternoon. John's plane going at 2:15. The man replied to her it seemed like he had been gone forever, a month at least. The woman disagreed with him. She commented it had been 2 weeks. She would bring him right there to the office so they could go over those papers with him. The man said he was sure John would rather go home and rest. Number 2. The man said to the woman he thought he would try baked fish. The woman replied to him she was getting the seafood stew if the waiter ever took their order, and they had been waiting like an hour. The man suggested coming down. He said it had only been 15 minutes and there came their waiter then. The woman agreed with him. She commented she just wanted to get to the theater before the play started. Number 3. The woman wanted to know if he came there much. The man replied to her only once a year. However, then he got to spend that 3 weeks there. The woman commented that was almost a month. She was only there for a week and she loved it because it was so relaxing to lie on the sand and swim in the sea. The man replied to her he enjoyed sailing too. It was a great place to unwind. The woman agreed with him and she said she could just leave all of his worries on the shore. Number 4. The man wanted to know if the bus would ever come. He said he had been waiting there since 7:30. The woman replied to him according to the schedule. The next one should be there in exactly 6 minutes. The man commented that was too long to wait then. He hoped it was on time and it looked like it was about to rain. The woman replied to him she hoped he had an umbrella. He might be there for a while longer, and the only one who read those schedules were the passengers, not the bus drivers.
Back now.
Number 5. The woman wanted to know if the department meeting was that day. The man agreed with her and he said it had been changed to Friday. The woman wanted to know when they had decided it and she said no one had told her. She commented she would bet they had changed the location too. The man agreed with her. He commented it wasn't in conference room anymore and it was in the company cafeteria. However, it started at the same time, 1:15. Number 6. The man said to the woman he was going to have to move his car and he couldn't park in that zone. The man replied to her he was only going to be in the store 5 minutes. The woman explained that was for loading only. Number 7. The man A said to the man B, no smoking. The man B replied to the man A, he just had later. The man A was sorry about the fact that smoking wasn't allowed on any flight. Number 8. The woman A said to the woman B, their New York souvenirs were supplied by a manufacturer in Hong Kong. The woman B wanted to know what about the extra transportation cost. The woman A replied to the woman B they first had used firm in Detroit, then one in Los Angeles. She had found their cost had been higher. Number 9. The man said to the woman he needed the pickup for one-day service. The woman agreed with him. He wanted to know if his wrong number. The man replied to her 6:54 and he was going to the coffee shop. he would leave the lottery by the door. Number 10. The woman wanted to know if the man had the reservation. The man agreed with her. He said his secretary had made it. The woman was sorry about it. She commented they didn't have his confirmed on that flight.
Hi everyone. Today I would like to talk about 15 conversations between two people, the man and the woman. Number 1. The woman said to the man she was picking John up that afternoon, and John's plane got in on 2:15. The man replied to her, it seemed like he had been gone forever, a month at least. The woman disagreed with him. She commented it had been 2 weeks. She could bring him right there to the office so they could go over those papers with him. The man said that he was sure John would rather go home and rest.
Why?
Number 2. The man said to the woman he thought he could try the baked fish. The woman replied to him she was getting the seafood still if the waiter ever took their order, and they had been waiting like an hour. The man suggested coming down, and he said it had only been 15 minutes, and there came their waiter then. The woman agreed with him. She commented she just wanted to get to the theater before the play started. Number 3. The woman wanted to know if he came there much. The man replied to her only once a year. However, then he got to spend 3 weeks there. The woman commented that was almost a month. She was only there for a week and she loved it because it was so relaxing to lie on the sand and swim in the sea. The man replied to her he enjoyed the sailing too. It was a great place to unwind. The woman agreed with him, and she said she could just leave all of his worries on the shore. The conversation 4. The man wanted to know if the bus would ever come. He said he had been waiting there since 7:30. The woman replied to him, according to the schedule, the next one should be there in exactly 6 minutes. The man commented that was too long and too long to wait then. He hoped it was on time, and it looked like it was about to rain. The woman replied to him she hoped he had an umbrella, and he might be there for a while longer, and the only ones who read those schedules were the passengers, not the bus drivers. Number 5. The woman wanted to know if the department meeting was that day. The man agreed with her, and he said it had been changed to Friday. The woman wanted to know when they had decided that, and no one had told her. She commented she could bet they had changed to the location too. The man agreed with her, and he commented it wasn't in conference room anymore, and it was in the company cafeteria. However, it started at the same time, 1:50. Number 6. The woman said to the man he was going to have to move his car and he couldn't park in that zone. The man replied to her he was only going to be in the store 5 minutes. The woman explained that was for loading only. Number 7. The man A said to the man B, no smoking. the man B replied to the man A, he just had it up. The man A was sorry about the fact that smoking wasn't allowed on any flight. Number 8. The woman A said to the woman B, their New York souvenirs were supplied by a manufacturer in Hong Kong. The woman B wanted to know what about the extra transportation cost. The woman A replied to the woman B, they first had used a firm in Detroit, then one in Los Angeles. He had found their costs had been higher. The number 9. The man said to the woman he needed a pickup for one-day service. The woman agreed with him. He wanted to know if his room number. The man A replied to her 654, and he was going to the coffee shop, and he would leave the laundry by the door. The last conversation. The woman wanted to know if the man had the reservation. The man agreed with her. He said his secretary had made it. The woman was sorry about that. He commented they didn't have his confirmed on that flight. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Hello everybody. Today I would like to tell you a short conversation between the man and the woman. Conversation number 1. The woman said to the man she was picking John up that afternoon. John's plane got in at 2:15. The man replied to her, it seemed like he had been gone forever. The month's list. The woman disagreed with him. She commented it had been 2 weeks. She would bring him right there to the office so they could go over those papers with him. The man said he was sure John would rather go home and rest. Conversation number 2. The man said to the woman he thought he would try the baked fish. The woman replied to him she would getting the seafood stew if the waiter ever took their order, and they had been waiting like an hour. The man suggested coming down. He said it had only been 15 minutes and there come the waiter then. The woman agreed with him. He commented she just wanted to get to the theater before the play started. Conversation number 3. The woman wanted to know if he came there much. And the man replied to her only once a week. However, then he got to spend 3 weeks there. The woman commented that was almost a month. She was only there for a week, and she loved it because it was so relaxing to lie on the sand and swim in the sea. The man replied to her he enjoyed it the sailing now. It was great place to unwind. The woman agreed with him, and she said she could just leave all of his worries on the shore. Conversation number 4. The man wanted to know if the bus would it ever come. He said he had been waiting there since 7:30. The woman replied to him according to the schedule. The next one should be there in exactly 6 minutes. The man commented that was too long to wait then. He hoped it was on time and it looked like it was about to rain. The woman replied to him she hoped he had an umbrella. He might be there for way longer, and the only ones who read those schedules were the passengers, not the bus drivers. Conversation number 5. The woman wanted to know if the department meeting was that day. The man agreed with her and he said it had been changed to Friday. The woman wanted to know when they had decided that, and she said no one had told her. The woman commented he would bet he had changed the location too. The man agreed with her. He commented it wasn't in conference room anymore and it was in the company cafeteria. However, it started at the same time, 1:50. Conversation number 6. The woman said to the man he was going to have a trouble in his car and he couldn't park in that zone. The man replied to her he was only going in the store 5 minutes. The woman explained that was for loading only. Conversation number 7. The man I said to the man B, no smoking. The man B replied to the man A, he disturbed. The man A was sorry about the fact that smoking wasn't allowed on any flight. Conversation number 8. The woman I said to the woman B, their New York souvenirs were supplied by a manufacturer in Hong Kong. The woman B wanted to know what about the extra transportation cost. The woman A replied to the woman B that Phoenix had used a firm in Detroit, and then one in Los Angeles. He had found their cost had been higher. Conversation number 9. The man said to the woman he needed a pickup for one-day service. The woman agreed with him. He wanted to know if his room number. The man replied to her, 54. And he was going to the coffee shop. He would leave the lady by the door. Conversation number 10. The woman wanted to know if the man had the reservation. The man agreed with her. He said his secretary had made it. The woman was sorry about that. She commented the didn't had his confirmed on that flight. Thank you for listening.
Hello. Now I want to tell you about 5 conversations between 2 people. The conversation 1. The woman said to the man she was picking John up that afternoon. John's plane got in at 2:50. The man replied to her. It seemed like he had been gone forever, a month at least. The woman disagreed with him. She commented it had been 2 weeks. She could bring him right there to the office, so they could go over those papers with him. The man said that he was sure John would rather go home and rest. The conversation 2. The man said to the woman he thought he would try the baked fish. The woman replied to him she was getting the seafood. Still, if the waiter ever took their order, and they had been waiting like an hour. The man suggested coming down. He said that it had only been 15 minutes, and there come their waiter then. The woman agreed with him. She commented She just wanted to get to the theater before the play started. The conversation 3. The woman wanted to know if he came there much. The man replied to her, only once a year. However, then he got to spend 3 weeks there. The woman commented, that was almost a month. She was only there for a week, and she loved it because it was so relaxing to lie on the sand and swim in the sea. The man replied to her he enjoyed the sailing too. It was great place to unwind. The woman agreed with him, and she said that she could just leave all of his worries on the shore. The conversation 4. The man wanted to know if the bus would ever come. He said that he had been waiting there since 7:30. The woman replied to him, according to the schedule, the next one should be there in exactly 6 minutes. The man commented, that was too long to wait then. He hoped it was on time, and it looked like it was about to rain. The woman replied to him she hoped he had an umbrella. He might be there for a while longer, and the only ones who read those schedules were the passengers, not the bus drivers. The conversation 5. The woman wanted to know if the department meeting was that day. The man agreed with her, and he said that it had been changed to Friday. The woman wanted to know when they had decided that, and she said that no one had told her. She commented she could bet they had changed to location too. The man agreed with her. He commented it wasn't in conference room anymore, and it was in the company cafeteria. However, it started at the same time, 1:50. The conversation 6. The woman said to the man, the printer due in Patrick. The man replied to her, the storeroom was out of stock. The woman commented, the clerk went down and both won. The conversation 7. The man said to the woman if that went on much longer, he could miss his plane. The woman replied to him, there was still 2 more presentations. The man commented, when they took a coffee break, he would leave. The conversation 8. The woman said to the man, the view from up there was worth the cry. The man replied to her it was too windy. He started going inside. The woman agreed with him. However, he started taking the elevator down. The conversation 9. The woman wanted to know how much it was. The man replied to her 16.45 on the meter plus on 50 for the toll road and 15 cents a night charge. The woman was surprised by that, and she said 16.45 from downtown to there. The last conversation, the woman said to the man, it always left on time from that track. The man agreed with her. He replied to her he couldn't wait to get there and eat dinner. The woman started relaxing. She commented if he was hungry, he could go to the cleaning car. Thank you. Hello everyone. Today I would like to tell you 5 conversations featuring together the man and the woman. Conversation 1. The woman said to the man she was picking John up. That afternoon, John's plane got in at 2:50. The man replied to her, it seemed like he had been gone forever, a month at least. The woman disagreed with him. She commented it had been 2 weeks. She would bring him right there for to the office, so they could go over those papers with him. The man said that he was sure John would rather go home and rest. Conversation 2. The man said to the woman he told he would try the breakfast. The woman replied to him she was getting the seafood still if the waiter ever took their order, and they had been waiting like an hour. The man suggested calming down. He said it only been 15 minutes, and there come their waiter. Then the woman agreed with him. She commented she just wanted to get to the theater before the play started. Conversation 3. The woman wanted to know if he came there much. The man replied to her only once a year. However, then he got to spend 3 weeks there. The woman was commented that was a month. She was only there for a week, and she left it because it was so relaxing to lie on the sand and swim in the sea. The man replied to her he enjoyed the sailing too. It was a great place to unwind. The woman agreed with him, and she said she could just live on his body on the shore. Conversation 4. The man wanted to know if the bus would ever come, and he said he had been waiting there since 7:30. The woman replied to him according to the schedule. The next one should be there exactly 6 minutes. The man commented that was too long to wait. Then he hoped it was a long time, and it looked like it was about to rain. The woman replied to him she hoped he had an umbrella. He might be there for way longer, and the only ones who read those schedules were the passenger, not the bus driver. Conversation 5. The woman wanted to know if the department meeting was that day. The man agreed with her, and he said it had been changed to Friday. The woman wanted to know when they had decided that, and she said no one had told her. She commented she would bet they had changed the location too. The man agreed with her. He commented it wasn't in the conference room anymore, and it was in company cafeteria. However, it started at the same time, 1:50. The woman said to the man the waiter need new in touch picture. The man replied to her the store was those drugstore. The woman commented the clerk went out and called one. Conversation 7. The man said to the woman if that went on much longer, he would miss his plane. The woman replied to him there was still two more recitation. The man commented when they took coffee break, he would leave. Conversation 8. The woman said to the man the view from there will walk the plane. The man replied to her his will do with him. His chatting going inside. The woman agreed with him. However, she suggested taking the elevator down. Conversation 9. The woman wanted to know how much it was. The man replied to her, 16.45 on the meter plus 154 pound drop and 50 cents night charge. The woman was surprised by that, and she said, 16.45 from Delta to there. Conversation 10. The woman said to the man, it will only let Tom come from that track. The man agreed with her. He replied to her he couldn't wait to get there and eat dinner.
The woman started lesson. He commented if he was hungry, he could go to the dining car. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.